The troubles at Japanese conglomerate Toshiba have been brewing for months, and now its chairman has resigned over a write-down of more than $6 billion in its nuclear business. The company had delayed its official results by a month over auditing problems, sending its stock tumbling in Tokyo. Arabella Munro reports.
Toshiba made a $5.5 billion bet on a nuclear renaissance in 2006. It hasn't paid off, and now the company is in trouble.
I sincerely apologize to our shareholders and all other stakeholders for any concern or inconvenience.
Chairman Shigenori Shiga is quitting over the huge losses from the acquisition of CB&I Stone and Webster by Toshiba's US nuclear unit Westinghouse. The Japanese company said its net worth was in the red last year by $1.7 billion. That's a big negative for the giant that as recently as 2004 was worth more than Apple. It follows an accounting scandal in 2015 when Toshiba admitted it had overstated its profits for 7 years. Its shares dropped 8% on Tuesday, extending its losses since December the 27th, when the company warned of a $1 billion write-down. That wiped $7 billion off its market value, almost overnight. The company's CEO says the net loss for the last fiscal year, which ends in March, will be around $3.4 billion, leaving it scrambling for capital. To deal with that, it's going to sell off part of its most profitable sector, memory chips, and spin it off into a separate business.
With our memory chip business, we want to secure resources that will spur future growth. We are thinking very flexibly, which means that we will not fixate on having a majority stake in the business and will consider introducing external capital.
As for its nuclear interests, the company is trying to draw a line under its decade of difficulties. It's planning to keep its 8 projects in China and the US for now, but is pulling out of new ventures.
With regards to our overseas nuclear energy business, we have stated that we will mull over strategic options, which means that we will decrease Toshiba's shares if we are able to find a partner that our customers and our workers can trust.
Toshiba has laid off thousands of workers over the past couple of years, and it hasn't made a profit since 2013, putting a question mark over its future. Arabella Munro, TRT World.
Earlier, I spoke to Seijiro Takeshita, who's Professor of Management and Information at the University of Shizuoka. I asked him if Toshiba can survive in its current form.
Well, no, it cannot obviously sustain its operation, its current form. What's really clear is that we don't even know what the problem is. It's a total mess, considering that, this prolongment of announcement that was announced today was due to the fact that they received information back in December about this very massive, large loss that is created by its U.S. subsidiary. What it's telling me is that there is certainly no upward or downward communication that's really going on within the firm, which really is a very worrisome issue because many people are feeling that there's furthermore to come. Obviously, there has to be a total revamp, a constructive destruction that has to take place for this company, and that is very, very clear.
One of the reasons why it's in such deep trouble is because of its investment in the nuclear industry. In hindsight, should they have seen this coming, given the changing circumstances of the economics of the nuclear industry?
Well, when they did create its empire, it was rather a correct choice. I think most of the, for example, financial analysts praised Toshiba for making a scrap and build focus into their strength and basically buying out Westinghouse and enlarging their capability throughout the world. At that time was certainly the correct methodology. That's what most people had felt. But obviously, when you look at what happened in Fukushima, et cetera, where there's a basic slowdown in construction of nuclear plants, obviously, it's a very, very negative trend. But the problem with Toshiba is, of course, aside from the choice of their business, the total lack and confusion of communication. This is really bad. What you're seeing is a very strong wall between departments, which doesn't talk to each other, and there's no communication on the vertical side as well as the horizontal side. So this is a very enclosed and caved organization, and that's what people are feeling right now, I think.
But the troubles that you're outlining there at Toshiba are not unique to Toshiba. They're actually emblematic of what is wrong with corporate Japan as a whole. Am I right in assuming that?
No, absolutely not. One of the reasons why Japan has flourished in areas like automobile, machinery, and electronics about a decade or two ago is basically because we have an excellent flow of information that goes throughout both vertically and horizontally. In fact, the power distance of management and worker, for example, in Japan is by far the lowest. We have no segregation with the blue-collar workers and white-collar workers. It's very normal for Japanese presidents to have lunch with their day workers, for example, engineers. So the fact of the matter is that Japan prides itself in, I would say, mingling, the management with the workers, having this consensus of we're all in it together. But obviously, from that point of view, things should have, worked nicely, especially in the communication side. But obviously, for Toshiba, we can clearly see that that is certainly not the case for this company.